Howdy folks, it's October, the spooky season, and we've had some really good news on a few other bits, which I'll go to over in a minute. Over here, a little bit of a clue. Yeah, so it's the October vlog, 10 vlogs in, and somehow still managing to get a few of these out. You may notice I'm in a slightly different position in my my recording studio-y housey thing, just because I wanted to show this off here, and a few of my little Halloween decorations as well. Yeah, so let's just plough straight into it. So games played this month, there's been a lot of very spooky games. Where is my notes? Yeah, so a few games played this month. Haunterculture, as you can see here, which I'll show you a bit more in a minute. A couple of spooky games like Dead and Breakfast and Haunt the House, which are basically other haunted house games where you play ghosts and goblins and things trying to scare people out of a house. So obviously, you know, right up my wheelhouse, games I had to play. They're really good fun. I'll flash up some pictures on here at this moment, but Dead and Breakfast is a lovely little sort of tile laying game where you're basically building the hotel up into like a 5x5 grid, and you're trying to like match up these sort of flowers, and then also collect up like the things that some of the guests are scared of. But it's based on like if this guest is in this row and they're scared of, say, like not vampires, like dolls or something, you have to get plenty of creepy dolls in that orientation. Really clever, really good fun. What was the other one? It was Haunt the House. So Haunt the House is quite similar to that again, but instead you've got the rooms have powers, and you place like these ghost hunters on each of the rooms, and you play like spooky cards basically to try scare them in a certain way. So like a particular hunter might be scared of, say, creaking and an icy chill. So you've got to play the right cards, but what's clever about it is you can either put your cards in face down to try and bluff your way into some extra points later on, or you can put them in face up, which means you lose the opportunity to bluff, but you activate the special ability of that particular room the hunter is in, so you may get the opportunity to grab extra cards or extra points, things of that kind of nature. What makes it tricky is the timing aspect, because you can either during your turn play these cards, or you can go boo, which is an opportunity for you to flip over the face down cards that some other people have played to see if between you've got enough cards to match up to the particular monster, the particular hunter, to make sure you've scared them, and you may or may not have enough cards to do so. If you do, you get to take the hunter, and that's extra victory points for you at the end. If you don't, you lose out on a boo, and other people may get victory points when you don't. So yeah, bit swings and roundabouts. So those two are good fun. Couple of quick ones to mention as well. Dobble, Harry Potter Dobble. It's my daughter's copy of Dobble. It was really good fun, but it's Dobble. It's the same thing we used before. Despicable Me Monopoly was a bit of glad when it was over. It did do a few things right though, I felt. So instead of waiting for everybody to be out, you're not out when you run out of money. You're not out, and then you have to wait for everybody else to finish. Basically, the game ends there immediately, and then you sort of tally up who's got the most banana bucks or gold at the end of that round to see who's won the game. So it means it's nice and short. There's nobody sat out waiting to play. And yeah, it's really good fun. Yeah, so on to video games now. Video games have been really sparse. More Tears of the Kingdom, which I think I'm coming up to the end of now, so I've sort of explored most of the middle bit, most of the underground bit that you can also explore, most of the sky thing. If I'm being perfectly honest, the under the ground bit is really boring, because a lot of the time you're in darkness, so a lot of the time you're sort of ploughing ahead, either setting up little light traps and things to try and make sure you can see where you're going, and then finding the little routes that light up the rest of the area for you. So you spend an awful lot of time doing that, and not actually doing a lot of the fun stuff, which is like exploring and finding new things. So yeah, that's boring. But the on top of the ground, that's still quite fun. Quite enjoyed that. Not a huge difference for me between this and the Breath of the Wild game. I do like some of the new powers, but they're okay. I can't see which game is better, to be honest, but I'll be finishing that one pretty soon. And then other things are a bit of Wii Sports with the kids, because we've set up the gaming centre from last time. It's been really good fun sort of getting back into those old games. Marvel Lego Avengers has been a good fun, because it's a nice little co-op game. It's got a really weird system for doing like the split screen though, where if you get if your two characters stay close together, you and your partner, it's you're both on the same screen, but if you sort of run off and the screen has to sort of zoom into two different characters, it does this weird dynamic split thing with the dual screen. Really strange, but quite interesting. And the last one is Transformers War of Cybertron, which is a PS3 game. So I've never owned a PS3 before, I didn't realise that they have this big issue where the GPU and CPU have a lid essentially under which the actual chip sits with the sort of thermal paste on top. And what's quite often happening is that the thermal paste between the lid and the chip has dried out, is therefore acting as an insulator rather than a conductor, and then you get problems where the chip will start to overheat under stress. The reason I wanted a PS3 was because my PS2 from ages back has died, and I needed something that would play my old PS1 games, my old PS2 games, and unfortunately the only model of PS3 that was backwards compatible was like a release model, so I've had to go back and find this really old model of PS3 and have it de-lidded is what they call it. Apparently it's a very tricky process that's quite easy to kill the actual PlayStation. So had that done, it's now running a lot quieter, a lot smoother, and I've managed to go back to a game I played maybe 10 years ago, which was absolutely fantastic, but I played it on the Xbox 360 instead. Absolutely loving that one, so that has been good fun. Board game design. So Dragon Ranch, my dragon farming game, completely mutated over the last couple of months to remove the coins as a currency and make the dragons the main currency, and it's sort of been warping and changing, and it's getting really close again to what I feel is a really tight finished product. The only thing that's left is the rewilding, so that's kind of gone in a few little loops where I've attempted to just have like, if you rewild a particular breed first, you get colours, you get points first, which is, it's fine but a bit boring. A ladder climbing thing, which was also okay, but again, it's been done in a lot of other games. I borrowed that mechanic from Lost Ruins of Arnak, so you can see a lot of the DNA in there. The most recent one I tried was like a rondelle system where you can choose which like principality or city-state you want to donate your dragons to or rewild your dragons to, and they'll give you different rewards based on where they go. Again, it was fine, like each of them is okay, but I want to do something a bit different. So the next one I'm going to try is like a card layout system from that basically has the 3 principalities, again with various rewards based on which principality you donate to, and then things, sort of climbing a pyramid essentially of different rewilding things. You can either go sideways, which won't earn you any more points, but it's good stuff, or you can go up, which will earn you more points later on, but it's obviously harder to do. So, swings and roundabouts on that one. And then the other one is Ghost Town. So again, a complete revision of Ghost Town, looking to rebuild it in such a way that you discard cards to pay the cost, much like in Race for the Galaxy, I think it's called, where you pay the cost for these different buildings that you're going to be putting into a little spooky town. I'm hoping it's going to work. I think it opens up the design space a little bit more in terms of like you get then to play with mechanics on like hand size, card draw, discarding, or do I get to keep cards, or do I get to filter through my own personal discard pile or a discard pile somewhere. So things like that. It's going to be a bit fun. No books this month, so I won't go into my book stuff. It's been all proofreading, and I'm still trying to get through this Star Wars collection book, which was really good. But again, not much reading. So I'll just go straight to the next, the last thing that I want to talk about for Halloween, for the spooky month, is the fact that Haunterculture has turned up. So this is the one that we kickstarted last October. It's taken an awful long time to turn up, and it has come back, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can quite see that there. Yeah, does that help? Anyway, you can see there, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So that turned up a few months ago. You'll see with this copy, I've already punched it. So we've got a lovely bag full of tokens, nice and orange. We've got little gold coins that are for the deluxe version. Our cards came out, which is fantastic, so I'll do a proper unboxing another time. Little cards there. Our scarecrow. So we had the scarecrow change. Originally that was a white border going all the way around the scarecrow. Now you can see it's a lovely black border, which has meant that the laser cutting is a bit less obvious. That's quite hard to, there we go. The laser cutting doesn't show up as much, so fantastic, looks a lot better. Boards, the score pad. The boards have now got a lovely rounded edge, not that exciting, but exciting for me. And then a few other bits and pieces in here too. So incredibly stoked. So that is now going to be available on our shop if anybody wants to buy it. It's still at a very small discount. It's not as good as the Kickstarter backers got, but there's a small discount for Halloween for 10% off. I think it works out about 10%. £3 off essentially, and then shipping on top of that. We've had a lot of good feedback as well. We've already sent it all to all the backers, and I think a lot of the Americans have received theirs as well, so they're like the furthest afield that we sent to. A few went to Europe. That was about it really. So a few in Europe, mostly in the UK and the US. and they're arriving. So we're super chuffed with how that's turned out. We haven't got many copies left, but we'll have a few for next expo, hopefully. Apart from that, yeah, it's been very exciting. A lot of the month has been spent on half term and looking after the kids, obviously, and then, you know, getting this thing shipped out with over 200 copies posted out to various people, including reviewers, people who helped make the game, who helped us sort of produce the game. It's been an absolute blast to get through it. So yeah, game design wise, not sure what's next. I need to speak to my business partner Gino and figure that bit out. But essentially, yeah, we're going to be moving on to other projects, see whether we want to produce another one ourselves or maybe pitch a few more designs. Yeah, that's basically it. So it's been a bit of a quiet month, but an interesting and full-on one. Oh, we also got to visit a couple of places. So Scaryland, which is Dairyland down in Cornwall, turned into like a spooky haunted place. It was fantastic. Loads of like, you know, decorations, like not lame ones either. Like, so they went full on. There was like pumpkins everywhere. So you scooped out a pumpkin as part of the entry fee for the kids, and then what they did was you would draw a design and give it to their carvers, I assume, so that like people weren't wandering around with sharp knives, and they would do the design for you, and they looked fantastic. Like, they actually copied the pictures really, really well, so I was really chuffed with that. And they had giant pumpkins and also, I'll see if I can throw some pictures up at this little section here. And then we also visited Legoland, which had the Brick or Treat event on, so there was a few little special things on there as well for the kids, for like, you know, Halloweeny stuff. So these giant pumpkin heads that were like Lego pumpkin heads. They had these fantastic, like, I don't know if you've seen them, but there's like a mask that you can buy for the little minifigs. It's basically a pumpkin head that you pop on top of the minifig's head. But they did a full-on, like, life-size pumpkin versions of those that were scattered around the park. Can't find them anywhere. I really, really wanted one, and they were too heavy to borrow, so didn't get one of those. But yeah, had a really good time. Picked up some little minifigs that are Halloween themed, which was really cool, and then did a few like the little haunted housey things that were there. So the haunted house ride broke down while we were there, and then as soon as we came back off another ride that we went on instead, it reopened, so we got to go right to the front of the queue, which was absolutely brilliant. And then a few spooky trails, a few little sweets and things, lots of that. Yeah, it's been really good. So that's October, the spooky month, my favourite month of the year, I think. And then the next one's going to be November, so that's going to be all like gunpowder and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, last little thing, I will say this, so I have decided on the last two things for so I've got two more resolutions to complete before the end of the year. The first one is learn a new skill, so I have decided soldering is the way to go, so I've looked into some HEPA filter systems and like a good soldering station to work with, and my wife's going to teach me how to do soldering, and then I'm going to use that to practice a couple of bits, so hopefully in the next video I'll be showing you a couple of the things I've been practicing on for that. And then for my project for the Cricut, I'm going to download the software, because I don't think I've got it on the laptop at the moment. And then my wife has some kawaii stickers that she's developed for her books, which I think will be a fantastic opportunity for me to learn how to create these sort of waterproof stickers that apparently you can use an inkjet printer for, and then it'll cut them out as well. Great stuff. So that's going to be my next project. So hopefully I'll be showing off those in the next thing as well. So yeah, that's about it for October. Yeah, have a good one, and I'll see you next month. Bye.